All right, welcome to watching it together. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch Van Helsing, the 2003 Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckinsale, directed by Stephen Summers. We got Richard Roxburgh, which I'm pretty sure is Dracula. David Wenham, which will be sidekick guy. Will Kemp. I don't know. I'll just guess. We'll say Igor. Kevin J. O'Connor. Schuler Hensley. I'm pretty sure that's Frankenstein's monster. And then we got Alan Silvestri for the music. So that's always good. I've seen it plenty of times. On the cover, we've got Van Helsing and Girl, and then Girl's brother Werewolf. I assume that's him, because I've seen it. And then we have the Lion Man flying around like a bat in the background. I'm thinking that's going to be Dracula and not one of the females. But it looks like he's got a crazy mane, because he's kind of hidden in the dark back there. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe it was early art, and they're just like, he's going to have crazy wings at some point, right? So, I don't know. It looks like he's wearing shorts, too. Anyway. I think it's a great movie. Really fun movie. You're not going to get your mind blown, and you're not going to get your life changed, I would imagine. But as far as fun, I think it's a fun movie. I think it has everything. Not literally, but most things. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to watch it together. But obviously, you're going to have to watch your copy of it, and I'm going to have to watch mine. So we're going to start it right at the same time. So I'm at 0 seconds and 0 fractions of a second. And I'm going to say, let's watch it together, and then I'm going to press play. So that's when everyone's supposed to press play, and hopefully it goes well, okay? So, was there anything else? Nope. Have fun, enjoy. This should be a roaring good time. Let's watch it together. Yeah, Universal. Got the Universal logo with what looks like, I don't know, what is that, 1,000 points of light? Oh yeah, then it turns to black and white. So Universal did a lot of those older scary movies, the Universal monsters, and I think, I think it's pretty obvious that's what they're going with here, especially starting out with Victor Frankenstein and what you're going to see and hear from him. Yeah, Transylvania. I bet that's a wild place. I mean, by the looks of it. Looks like a fun town. Yeah, so we got that. That reminds you. It's like, remember the old stuff? You like the old stuff, you're going to like this stuff. Which probably isn't true at all. This is an action movie. Those old movies were not action movies. Nonetheless, great movie. Maybe they're trying to bring the people who remember those, into this world, kind of. But I'm sure it failed. Well, now in hindsight, I can see this movie. It seemed like to fail across critics. Maybe viewers. Also, not sure. I like it. I enjoy it. Dracula does well. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, who doesn't do well? Okay, some of the ladies' acting is, uh, I don't know, kind of off. But I think some of these girls were more models than actresses. I'm not talking about Kate Beckinsale. Um, but the other ladies, they're all right, and maybe they were directed to act like that. It was just very, I don't know, very stage actory. But some of this is, I guess, Frankenstein's monster is very much operatic or a stage actor type. Um, so I think there is a lot of that in here, which is fine. But I could see where it would be seen as just poor acting if you're not understanding it, or if you don't understand what this beginning is supposed to be about, or even in reference to. And but I mean, it's like Castlevania, right? You got you got Frankenstein's monster, you got Drac. You're gonna have Igor here soon, or the Flea Man. Yeah, he's a real treat. Yeah. They wanted to get someone who didn't need any makeup. So they found that guy. To me, I mean, just from memory, not that I've watched this other movie I'm gonna mention, but he kind of reminds me of the mask in with Cher. That mask. And slightly like the guy who plays a blind guy in Barb Wire. Kind of looks like that dude with the sunglasses and stuff. All right, so yeah, Dracula, if you don't know, is trying to get this secret to bringing life that Dr. Victor Frankenstein found out, and now it's pretty much going to die with him. He's loving it. He just revels in this. Oh, nice. Yeah, a little steampunk. Yeah, that is so weird. He was smiling, walked out the door right before him, and then turns around and is yelling at him, and obviously brings. Yeah, so that's a confusing scene right there. I think it's awkward choice. But I mean, we're shoving a bunch of stuff in here, trying to get all the story set up. I get it. Some pretty cool shadow stuff that goes with the old Nosferatu, or uh, Coppola's Dracula. Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Classic scene here, I'm pretty sure, with the windmill. I never watched the old ones. I've seen parts of Bela Lugosi stuff. Probably watched more Christopher Lee uh, movies myself. Yeah, and I didn't watch Frankenstein or the Lon Chaney Jr. or Werewolf, or I didn't really watch any of those. They were before me, and I don't know, maybe I'd enjoy them. I did watch Nosferatu with the Typo Negative soundtrack. Highly recommended. Yeah, it's awesome. With that soundtrack. I don't know how it is with the original. I'm sure it's good. But I thought it was fun with, like I said, the Typo Negative. Which, yeah, is great. Typo, it's, blood type. Uh, it might reference something else, but... Oh, yeah, he speaks. Yeah, the guy does great. Some really cool stuff here. I mean, if this was a more serious movie, I think it could have been really awesome, like with what they went with and did. But I like that it's got enough cheese, enough old movie, enough enough of like a serial, like Indiana Jones or even Batman. You know, it reminds me of those things. Also, once we get into it here with Hugh Jackman, Van Helsing, and stuff. Okay, yeah. So he definitely sees him as a father. So, because later on, I mean, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but the monk refers to the monster as Frankenstein just once, which is odd. But then my reasoning for it was, oh, maybe he's a Frankenstein. Oh, it's a good scene. Looks really good. I mean, with them flying down, it looked good. I talked over it, but in the wheel burning, that might be significant. Passage of time, because here we are 1 year later. And the wheel in the sky keeps on burning. Oh. Okay. Well, I was wondering why he wears the mask. So he should stop wearing the mask if that's what they think he looks like. Because I definitely said he needs to stop wearing the hat. Is that a phallic joke? Yeah, get used to this music. This is, pretty sure it's the DVD menu music. And it's the Van Helsing theme. It's not bad. Whoa. It's no Duel of the Fates. Who's that? John Williams, I think. Whoever did Star Wars, Phantom Menace music. Oh, so okay, he's illuminated. He's got the eye there, with rays of light coming from it. Because they get into the whole political papacy thing. I mean, really, they don't go far into it, but like in the quick scene coming up after this kind of battle, yeah, they're real heavy for like a couple minutes of how the secret society of the papacy is trying to keep some of this stuff under wraps. You know, that type of thing. Yeah, it's very ninja. But like I said, if you wear the rest of the outfit, is anyone confusing you with some other ninja? This is 2003, so I mean, it's probably being made in 2002ish. It's pretty good graphics, pretty good CG. They do a lot of stuff in the dark. That's easier for CG. It's hard to do humanistic type things. Yeah, jump. They never get the jump right, but he looks pretty good. You could tell when, I mean, the camera pans or whatever, the camera track is very specific because they're having to film these scenes without a CG character, but they're imagining they're there. Maybe even have a real person, but they need that camera to track exactly the same for when they do the CG. So it's just always specific, but they are trying to do some type of camera movement constantly. I think that's to dampen that effect, or kind of to make it more realistic. You know, it's like they think by doing it all the time, it's not going to be noticed. Because see here, we just do straight quick pans. Nothing crazy like jagged and all around and stuff. They really wanted to show off. No, we're doing this. We're spending money on this Jekyll Hyde character. Going to move that camera around all the time. You'll see that with the women flying later, that they really wanted to show you like the human actor face shots along with the CGI and stuff. It's like I don't like when they really display stuff. It's not too heavy-handed, I guess, but I've just seen it a billion times and I pick it apart as I go along. Very good though. I mean, it's only because I'm picking it apart is it probably noticeable to most people. It's really well done, and a lot of stuff is seamless. Yeah. Yeah, then he just goes crazy. Yeah, see, I added things like that. That's what adds to the realism, too. I mean, he didn't need to pull up his pants a little bit, necessarily. But the whole character together, I mean, his clothes are almost coming off of him, and he's kind of gross. It's just, they did a good job. I mean, what are you going to do? You have to imagine this, and then you have to make it kind of appealing, maybe even likable. I don't think they were trying to scare anyone to death, you know. But he is supposed to be the bad guy, and he's also kind of a prick. So, yeah, this part, and then he's not looking. Yeah, that was very good. It was good to think of that. I don't know about that, like why he let go there, or why it snapped. Especially, I don't know. And that would be scary, waking up to that. Because I don't think he remembers when he switches back. I'm not sure. They didn't explain that here. I mean, maybe they did in one quick sentence and I missed it, but... Who's that? Yeah, exactly. How does he know? And then he puts the hat on. Okay, so I guess the hat didn't give him away. He didn't even need the hat, and that guy recognized him from down on the ground. In the middle of the night. From like 1 second of looking at him. Is this Pope's house? Yeah, I thought he just went to a church. I'm pretty sure this is the cult headquarters. And then this guy, you would feel like is going to come back at the end of the movie as the real predator and the real evil person. Because look at him, he's just like disgusting, angry. Looks like a demon's trying to come out of him. He doesn't even want any part of this guy. Yeah. But anyway, he's talking about how they're a secret society and how they're trying to cover stuff up and control the world with using Van Helsing type thing. And then he's got that. Why does he have that? What is that for? For the sinners? Or just for Van Helsing? Is that just for him? For when he tries to storm off during a heated exchange? It's the Van Helsing lattice. Yeah, and then they got the basement here. This is what the basement's like. What is that place called? The Vatican. Sorry, I just for some reason I always forget that name. Pretty sure he's in the Vatican. But now he's in the James Bond Q lab. Yeah. So there's the real picture, the real etching or drawing of Vlad Tepes with the actor for Dracula's face superimposed on there. It looks alright, and if you've never seen the original, it wouldn't look too awkward, I don't think, but it does. But it's a good idea. That is a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, and this guy. He looks like someone they dressed up to look like a character, like he's in Monty Python. Now, I can completely understand that maybe they have this secret technology to, early on, because I don't know when this is, but to have that projector. But who took these high quality pictures from that close up? And what type of camera were they using? Like, to where these people were posing, even posing for the camera, too. So maybe that's it. Maybe they had them pose for it. Oh, yeah, they got people from everywhere here. Ah, remember that? Ah, see, he didn't show. He didn't show the secret symbol at the bottom. He's hiding it. Okay, there it is. Yeah. That what it looks like to me is serpent DNA. Well, or angelic serpent, and then DNA spiral. Well, I mean, it's a hermetic staff that has to do with all that. And then this machine, it's like that thing on South Park. Oh man. Yep. Enter the comedic relief. He's good. The character can be like stupidly annoying, but that's kind of his character. He's sort of a fish out of water, but at the same time, he's got all this. He read about it all, so it's time to apply it, right? So I think he's just a fish in new water, and he figures it out pretty all right. So yeah, see, now we're really in the James Bond Q lab here. Well, maybe this is just, when is this? I'm gonna have to see when Van Helsing takes place. During the late 19th century. Okay. That's what I was going to guess. 1800 and some late number. Not quite 1900s. Yeah, this thing. I can't remember. Does it shoot silver stakes? That'd be incredibly wasteful. I would think you could just use like wooden stakes that are kind of dipped in silver. I mean, maybe you couldn't do wood and silver, but do something that would be easier to get, a little bit cheaper, and that it'll actually do something. Because if you had a silver stake, I mean, I feel like it would deform quicker than it would impale. I mean, it would impale, but I mean, if we're talking about some type of superhuman, maybe his bones or something's a little bit stronger. I don't know. They don't really specify that either. So yeah, Van Helsing. Where's this, Jersey? Oh yeah, this trap, this little trick. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen somebody do. He feels like he has to be tied up like that to, spoiler, to distract this werewolf. But there's people hiding right around him. Do they think that the werewolf couldn't smell them? And is the werewolf immediately stupid? Like, does he know why this guy is tied here? Yeah, I guess this is an idea, but how long has he been here too? Like, have they been there weeks? They have to set this up every day. Some of the werewolf's not bad. Some of the werewolf is bad. That looks pretty scary. And this guy, riffraff. Yeah. Enter the sex appeal. I always like a good, strong female character to enter with her butt first. Ah, yes, the run. We'll notice the run. And I think, oh, nice. I think it's Kate Beckinsale's run, because if they're not showing her face and she's running, I feel like it's a little bit better, but that's probably her stunt double. I don't know if she does anything that doesn't show her face, because I would assume that the times where they're not showing her face, they're doing it on purpose. They actually do a good job of it. I guess I'll point it out when it happens, but there's at least one time they try to explain it with just a small thing. She runs. It's got to be so tough to run in that stuff, though. The corset, the pants, all that leather stuff on you, like, or whatever it really is, but all that stuff hanging on you. I bet he could have moved too. I'll see, like, is that not her? Would she not stand that close to a cliff? Well, that cliff might not have been real anyway, but yeah, I would say not real. But that background looks real. So I would say absolutely not there. But, some of it had to be real. But I just feel like, generally, if they're not showing her face, it's probably a stunt double. On the boat, the model boat maker. It said in the credits that only one person made that boat. Maybe it was a company name. We'll have to see at the end. This is awesome. I mean, these are nice places. That would be so awesome to be there. As long as you could just get, like, helicoptered out. Like, it's really awesome. Obviously, that would be stunt doubles like that. They just send somebody there to ride some horses and. But I mean, some of the stuff's seamless. When you see Hugh Jackman jump out of that bell at the beginning, you really have to think about how they did that and probably watched it a few times. Sure, it's half CGI, half real, half green screen, half something else. In this, here's the set. Here's the big town. And not wearing the mask. He doesn't wear the mask for the rest of the movie. He does wear an eye mask later on. Yeah, I think they already know what's going on here. Or they don't know him, and that's the issue. Okay. Is this what happens every time someone comes to Transylvania? They have hammers. They have sledgehammers for newcomers. And here's the mayor. Not him. I think his name's Top Hat. She's the mayor. Everyone else is rabble. Oh, good answer. I was going to say, well, I don't know if those laws are kind of crazy. That's a lot of people. I wonder, I mean, even with that scene, all those people aren't real right there at that time. Like, I bet there's CGI, I bet there's green screen, I bet there's real people. It's a lot. That's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, if you watch them, they're just, some of them are running aimlessly or almost jogging in place but slowly moving forward, like if you were racing like your niece or nephew and you don't want to blow them out of the water by, just running the quarter mile in like a hundredth of the time they can. But oh, see, they're really going in with that. I mean, I don't think they need to. I think she could be good enough character. Yeah, I mean, they try to sexualize her and then they rip the nips off these ladies. I'm sure that would constitute a rated R. So, but I mean, it does need some explanation, especially if they're going to be mothers. And I know that they can't do everything a mother like a human mother does, and that's why they're going to need the electricity from Frankenstein's monster, you know, secret, top secret stuff. But I mean, I would say movie reasons for that, which is fine. Look at that waste. Just all that stuff was wasted. Well, they hit her. Oh my goodness, yeah, and they're even arrows. I just thought they were straight up like sticks, like bolts or stakes. They're proper arrows that someone's going to have to dig out of there, and then they're probably not even really reusable. Maybe melt them down. That's another thing. Were they up all night? Was that a magical nighttime that wasn't really nighttime? Or, I mean, the horses aren't scared. I can't remember what's going on. Oh, okay, something's in the well. Timmy? Nothing? Nothing. That sky looked kind of bad. Yeah, so it is like magic. Oh, it's just the clouds going by. Okay. I'm sure it's like a vampiric mist. Yes, she. Is that Mariska? I can't remember their three names. And the two get confusing here soon. Because I thought what was happening was the red-haired chick was at two places at once and kind of warping back and forth, or she was like an illusionist. But then the last time I watched it, I realized that's not what's happening. One's blonde and one's red-haired. Both have very similar hair, and they look very similar in their bat form. Right here, there. She whipped her hair out of the way because they couldn't show her face the whole time because it was a stunt double. But that looks cheesy when they don't show their face the whole time, so they had her whip her hair out of the way. I think that was smart. It's like saving kayfabe. I'm pretty sure that's what you'd say for that. Yeah, this wasteful thing. And if they're all sitting in there, like those arrows, the whatever you call them on the back, are getting messed up, the fins or whatever, sure they have a proper name. I'm looking it up is what I'm doing. Oh, fletching. They're called fletching? Okay. So yeah, when you fletch arrows, that's what they mean. Yeah, that effect with her like genie pants on or whatever, it turning into a human form from the bat form looked really bad. Yeah, but see, then I thought that was her, and then she warps right there. So I felt like all the times I watched it, she was outside messing with Van Helsing, and she was in here messing with girl. But it's not. It's it's the two different ones. So yeah, I know that doesn't look exactly like her, but it's like it's great. Yell it out before you throw it. That's great. You could have said normal water. That was pretty cool. Oh, that's Mishka. See, she even talks like the other one. Well, they're sisters. Oh, man. What? Who blessed it? They're very cool though. They did a good job making them scary, sexy. You don't really know what's gonna happen. They're like, I don't know, feral sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Now see, that looks really good. And I guess that one is a mixture. That's her real face. I'm gonna say a lot of CGI was actually over the face also, but I'm pretty sure from what I watched, they had the actress act and then they put the body on it and stuff. But her face was painted up and everything. I could be wrong. Yeah, they really try to show you that though. I mean, it's okay. They just keep displaying it like this, like they keep doing it. This is a cool view though. I just feel like you'd either want to be more accurate or design a different type of weapon. It just seems very destructive to anything around you. Which, whatever, that's second. You want to kill these things apparently, but it also seems wasteful. Yeah, here's where it looks kind of bad. Like her head was too separated from the body. I think her neck stretched and got too long there because she was real from, the neck up, and the rest was kind of CGI. Yeah, don't forget the hat that identifies you to everybody. Perfect timing. That cow's got perfect timing. There we go. That guy revels in anything that's like related to evil or discord or look at him. Kill for revenge. He's like pumped about it. Like, why? Kill that guy. Get that guy. But then I thought, because I've thought that before about him. Is he warping? I thought that you probably have to get someone that's pretty messed up to be messing with all these dead bodies, especially with vampires like draining them of blood, or like probably werewolves ripping people apart and stuff. And it's probably hard to get someone to mess with those bodies and body parts and I don't know, bury them. Those people. I mean, they're not just body parts; they're people. But okay, so that was Mishka or Marishka, the one that died. And then the other two. This is good. You could tell he's walking up like that too, because it's kind of tough. I mean, he's on. He's obviously got help, but. And then they cut it to CG right here, which looks pretty terrible. It looks like Blade or The Matrix. I guarantee they use the same programs or something, even though they act like they're just all these CG artists everywhere. And that jump looks terrible. I mean, just around this time, it was still okay, but CG was getting worse and worse and worse, with few exceptions. I don't. I guess I know why. You streamline things after a while. When you're doing big business and big productions and not a lot of time, you don't want to pay a lot of people, so you want that one guy doing this and the one girl doing that. And I mean, essentially, of course, there's still thousands of people that work on these movies, but or at least hundreds. But I'd say 97 was right around the pinnacle of movie CG. Uh, they still can't equal some of that stuff, which is just crazy. There's some tricks in I love this part. Ace Ventura. I'll talk about it in a second. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. See that? See, that part's just confusing because, well, Dracula's apologizing first of all to the ladies, and then he tries to be sympathetic to the werewolf. It's seemingly, but then Igor pretty much reminds or answers correctly to Dracula in saying, "No, remember, I'm supposed to be torturing him." Um, yeah, literally, that's what I do. He also says that. Um, yeah, so I don't know if Dracula was being sympathetic to the werewolf or not. But that scene, there was two, an apology and sympathy for, from Dracula. He's our bad guy. We had less sympathy and understanding from the guy at the Pope's house. I can't remember. I want to say this is the first big movie I saw her in. Well, maybe him too. Um, I mean, at least in order of seeing movies with these people in them that I can recall. Let's see, Hugh Jackman. That's like a jack-o'-lantern. A jackman. Anyway. Logan, Wolverine. X-Men. X-Men Origins, Wolverine. Greatest Showman. Oh, The Prestige. That's a good one. That's a good one. The Fountain. Uh, I mean, it's give and take, really. There's some cool stuff in it. Yeah, Chappie. Van Helsing. Okay. Pan. Oh, Swordfish. I didn't know. Days of Future Past. X2, X-Men United, X-Men The Last Stand. Oh my goodness, how many of those was there? Oklahoma. That's probably a big one. 99. Uh, yeah, I'm going to say we mentioned probably most of his big ones. Oh yeah, just got dusted. Kate Beckinsale. Oh, sorry, Kate Beckinsale movies. Yes, Underworld. Blood Wars. Is that what that was called? Evolution. Awakening. Ew, the new Total Recall. Vacancy. Broke Down Palace. Last Days of Disco. Cold Comfort Farm. That looks pretty early for her. Haunted. I want to say I have watched Haunted, but I know I haven't. Permission uncover. Blah blah blah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know that one. Haunted. Uncovered. 94. Fame. I don't know. That sounds like a weird one. Alright, anyway. Oh, she's got a mace. That's right. So she had that one mace with the fist. Uh, there's probably more proper name for it, but then she's got this kind of Morningstar mace thing. Kind of. I don't know what you call this either. A four-pointed star. I can't remember what 3 and 4-pointed stars are called. They both have the same type of name. diamond star? Yeah, but what's the 3 and 4? Isotoxal? Isotoxal star? Yeah, isotoxal stars. Convex hexagon. Sounds right. Yeah, geez, and I have to run in those heels too. It's crazy. Yeah, here we go. Oh, Ace Ventura. So, great movie. But When Nature Calls, also a great movie. Less Hollywood type movie too. I mean, as far as like big time. I mean, if you think about it, the first one had sports celebrities, movie stars, big comedian of the time, and what's her name? Courtney Cox that was her name at the time. Anyway, I mean, you got the Dolphins on there. Is whatever. It's a little bit bigger than the second one, but the second one's great and hilarious and more goofy and slapstick. I feel like. And but there's some effects in it that are just crazy. When he comes riding in on the ostrich, like I'm pretty sure that's real. I'm dead set on saying that's real. He's on a harness on the back of an ostrich. But I don't think that's accurate. I think they did a good job, but I'm not sure. And then there's another scene where the main bad guy is talking, the warden from Shawshank Redemption movie. He's talking, I think, and there's he has all these animals in cages, and I can't remember exactly. It's either a cheetah or a panther or some type of tiger or something, or a jaguar. That it's in a cage, but I swear it's not there. They don't have it scrunched down because I feel like the cage was kind of scrunched, but I don't think it's really there. I think it's CG. Excuse me, not CG. I think it's green screened in. But it's so weird to think about that. And then to think that they would do that if they did, just for that passing scene. They don't focus on it. It's peripheral, and it is intentional, of course, to be there. It's in the movie, so almost everything in the movie is, intentional, or at least a lot of the main things. So yeah, I want to say it's not really there. You be the judge. You go back and you watch Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and you watch Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, and you tell me if he's really riding an ostrich, and you tell me if that cat is real in that cage. I mean, it's probably real. I'm pretty sure it's real. But now the thing is, I've watched it on VHS. I've watched it on my computer, downloading whatever copy. I've watched it. I know I've watched it on DVD. I can't say I've watched it on Blu-ray. But at one time I did try to download a great copy, or at least watch that part on, video site or something. And I want to say it'll differ with your quality on what you think. But I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. There's probably things in movies that are CG that we never noticed, Well, I mean, there can be a lot of things, but I mean, something that big, but innocuous at the same time. Even though it was a part of this person's character, it wasn't a part of the main storyline. I could go on forever about this possibly CG cat. So sorry. Never seen it. Yeah, so you can tell if our movies are synced up when I said that. I said it right at the same time he did, so. So sorry. We get it. Just say it's your brother. And he just goes crazy. It's so unnecessary. He hasn't been bitten yet. Oh, spoiler. Yeah, I don't think Van Helsing's been bitten, but he's acting crazy over this. Like he should know that she would be trouble and would stop him. I got my volume down, or else I would know what he said there. It's probably really good. Whatever he responded to her. Oh, that's right. Yeah, her dad. Well, no. Well, spoiler again. Yeah, you'll find out that I don't think her dad is dead right here. I think he dies off camera later. But maybe he's dead already, truly. I think he just gets captured and tortured, and they show the aftermath of that here later on. As if it just happened. So that's why I say he might not be dead right now, technically. Hmm. Like it got that spider webby since the last time? Let's say it's been 1 year, because if I mean I don't know the location. They went back to, I'm guessing, the doctor's lab, and this is it, right? And then later on they move it. Spoiler: they move it to Dracula's. Such a likable character. Pushing his Oompa Loompa Jawas around. Because they're monsters. They're not short people. Obviously they had to be played by short people, but they are just monsters in the movie. So I could see the hate for that, being a short person. I mean, like a very short person compared to what's called an average height. Uh, to only be offered roles, that are, I don't know, demeaning, or even not even demeaning. Just you always have to play the let's say you play the demon, or you play the leprechaun. That one can be seen as demeaning. But who else is going to play a leprechaun? Right? A tall person? That's not how the story goes. So I think there's a give and take there. But yeah, it's not like you see people that are really short in your average movie role, of course. Where you don't see really tall people. I mean, these people are generally average, good looking, but still average. I mean, he's probably 6 foot, 6 foot something, maybe. Maybe. She is 5'7". So I mean, she's probably average height for a girl. For an average girl. I mean, I know nothing's really average. I'm just saying, in general, the average from tallest, smallest, and the middle. Pretty intense. With your sister. Is that nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition? Or no, I guess this would be the French guy. He sounds like he's doing the Monty Python French voice from how I hear it. But my volume's low. But I love this guy. He's Dracula. I think he does great. Not too big on the werewolf guy. Well, there's not much to him other than him being a werewolf and being the brother. Okay, so yeah, there's the father. So as I was saying, I think he got recently destroyed. What was that? What do you call that? Tongan death grab? Whoa. They kept the spit, and I think he sucked it back in right there. He shouldn't have. He should have left it. When someone's in real peril, I don't think they would most likely care about that. Or maybe they would even spit it out, you know. But he was just acting. Could you put the loogie back in your mouth, sir? Was that CG? I think they were CG. They were like small. I mean, they're real. They're probably legit from here. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like hire babies? Hire babies to play very short monsters? Yeah, yeah. Watch this. He's already down on the ground here in this next shot. Because that takes a lot of vampiric energy just to be standing on the ceiling, I bet. That is a crazy machine, though. Can't imagine knowing what all the stuff does. And the mess. Well, yeah, now this. Now they got growths. Freaking disgusting, dude. When he rips one open, spoiler, disgusting. Yeah, that was done correctly. That's up to code. They should. Well, I guess they probably don't understand electricity very well. I mean, Van Helsing and stuff, but they should. They should have overloaded it all and exploded everybody. Exploded all these things. Spoiler, I don't remember that happening, so. Just crazy. Well, that scene's like the Matrix, I guess, with all the bodies and the thing. Because there's another scene later on that reminds me of the Matrix. Because there's, I don't know, movies around the same time a lot of times have similar things in them. Ideas, techniques, whatever you want to call it. Rip-offs. The thing is, sometimes when that happens, neither movie had come out yet when they were being made. So I wondered, why would they have similar things in it? Word gets around. Maybe same people work on them. Maybe people share techniques during the making. Maybe they've got spies or something. Hollywood spies, as if it's some type of competition. Hollywood's a joke. Yeah, this is just foul. Oh my god, she can't even handle it. Like, he's sandbagging it. He is not giving a dang. There's more. You gotta get deeper in here. There's more in here. What else is in there? Oh my goodness. There's no way. Why would he be doing that? Casually digging through that after it just got like electrocuted? Because I think a little jolt went in there, right? Yeah. So they already got electrocuted a little bit. Why wouldn't you cut it in half to open it? Or cut the top half off and let it fall to the ground? Like, he was being so delicate with this thing they want to destroy. Just saying. Little baby. They're so crazy. It's fun. It's fun because I mean they're just like psychotic. Like they're happy. They're like, but they're terrorizing, but they're raising their kids, but they're going to kill people. Like it's a happy, messed up family. That was kind of neat. What? So his shadow did that. Is that the thing? Because that's an old thing. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember this part where the shadow's throwing stuff. I guess I always assumed he was doing stuff from above. I've watched the movie a lot, but I also multitask, so I more or less listened to it a billion times. I've watched it a half a billion times. But yeah, so that's like Nosferatu and Coppola's, Stoker's, Dracula with the shadow doing stuff. I was wondering what he was talking about. It's a good thing he explained it. That was almost like Indiana Jones music there. I mean, I'm sure that could be a lot of things. Who is this? Silvestri? I don't think he did Indiana Jones, did he? Huh. What does this say? What? I just may have stumbled upon something here. Did Alan Silvestri rip off? Okay. Alan Silvestri, I've read somewhere that Alan Silvestri ripped off a Grail theme from the third Indiana Jones film. I really heard a very similar motive while watching the film. They also say that Mr. Silvestri is not the kind to rip off stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then the post says that he also ripped off Gustav Holst's The Planets and Petra I don't know, Tchaikovsky's Sugar Plum Fairy Waltz. Did I miss anything? But I haven't heard any of those two pieces in Van Helsing's score. This is true because someone pointed out to me. I was humming the whole Last Crusade Nights theme after watching Van Helsing. It's most certainly in there. So is Return of the King. So is a lot of boring stuff, is what this person says. Not a good score. It's not the Grail theme. It's very, very similar, but it's not. Same beginning, but different ending. You can hear it when Mr. Van Helsing is about to be briefed in his mission in Transylvania. It's about 4 seconds long. So Vestry is too good to rip off themes from other compositors, is what he said. I agree. Almost Loke the Grail. He says Loke the Grail. Like the Grail. Yeah, well, I just heard something there that sounded like Indiana Jones, and if other people have heard it, I'm going to say is extremely too similar, and even he would know that, right? And didn't I already mention that this movie is like that, and it's like an Indiana Jones movie, it's like a James Bond movie? I don't doubt that that was on purpose. That's like the Metal Gear Solid ripping off Speed, the movie Speed's theme. 100%. I think it's at least 2 songs in the movie. It's 100% there. I mean, it's possible that by chance that happens. When we're talking about music, a lot of stuff's been made. I mean, try to think of something that hasn't been made in music, right? You might make some weird noises and stuff. Well, actually, that's already been done. So, what else are you going to do? And usually certain things sound really good after other certain things. So it's possible it was accidental, or maybe it was just in his brain at the time. Um, but I'm not the only one to hear it. So that was definitely just like an Indiana Jones song. Oh, that's right. All that history. Hope you guys and gals are enjoying yourself. It's a great movie. Hope you're learning a bunch of interesting facts and opinions. No, I don't vote. Deal with it. That was more or less a joke, but it's also true. No, you have to. Oh my goodness. So this doesn't touch on it, but I mean, if this is late 1800s, I mean, when are we talking some real electricity came around? We'll say, when was it widely available? Because obviously it's always been around. 1882 is when Edison claimed. Only in 1925 did half of all U.S. homes, that's way off, I guarantee it, have electric power. Yeah, I'd say half of them in the city, or most of them in the city. Okay, so yeah. I mean, maybe they're going with the theme that Dracula and Dr. von Frankenstein, um, and the papacy or the Vatican have these technologies, but on this high of a scale, I definitely would say it's a secret technology. Like, they've been hiding it for a while to have it this. I mean, it's not exact, but they're bringing people back to life with it, so they're doing something. Ah, yes, the chakram blades. That's what he's got on the cover of the Blu-rays, those chakrams, and he's like pointing them at you, kind of posing like he's ready to strike, but he's also doesn't look threatened or threatening, so more like he posed for a Blu-ray or DVD release at the time, so as was the style at the time. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty crazy, all this. I mean, to have this either go unnoticed or unchallenged by anyone else, or some type of large government. We're only talking 100 years ago, so. Well, 130 years ago. And then here, this poor woman that's so glad to be alive. She's like, what can I do to repay you? And he's like, yeah, he actually says that. That's another Ace Ventura. When nature calls. When that guy misinterprets him and he says he's a princess, and that guy in the crowd perks his head up and smiles. Oh, yeah, definitely watching that movie. Oh, that's such a great movie. I've just been watching Van Helsing lately, and I just thought we could do a little watch together and watch it together. Hmm. I don't know if they just wandered back to the lighthouse or if they came here for a reason. The hat. Here's another indie scene. You did good today, kid. I did better. You don't have to like it. Do not drink that. What is that? Yeah, so he just drinks that casually all the time? He just pulled out like a giant bottle. That was his flask. I don't see him carrying a papoose or something. Oh, they fade. Huh. I never thought about that. That was like a commercial. Yeah. Well, yeah. You watch this next part. Oh, geez. With the animated CG. Yeah. I gotta take a intermission. Yeah, a couple minute intermission. But I'm not stopping the movie, so I'm gonna try to put this microphone down safely. Alright. Get my setup. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, the animated wall thing. I felt like they could have left that out. That looked. I could see what they were going for. Keeping it looking like the wall art, but at the same time trying to make it look animated, but not. It just. I feel like it ended up looking cheesy. I guess I still gotta fix this microphone. Okay. So yeah, then you got Big Frank back here. Or Frank's monster. To exist. He's so good. Oh, loud noise. Ah, see, just switch spots. She was like, no, about her brother, we can't kill him, and then now he's like, no. And his jacket. Is his jacket made out of skin? I can see it's patchwork. Did he do that? Because you know how much work that would take to poke holes through that leather like that and I mean, for a person whose hands probably don't work very well. But he's definitely like stage actor, opera type. What was his name? Schuler Hensley. Was that the 4 darts? Yeah, yeah. And then he just passes out. And then later on, 1 dart gets him, like immediately. I think he's just playing right now. He's just acting like he's passed out. Because it would really take you down, you know, inch by inch. You'd start talking like slower, and like your eyes would, you know, start to try to close, and then you'd pass out. Not dramatically all at once, real quick. He should get back up and say something and then pass out again. What? Don't give me that look. What? Like what? Like carry him? Well, now, yeah, of course they're not going to show how they did that. What? How do you get that guy out of there? Wake him back up? I love him. I can see where people would think that's cheesy, though. But I think it's fun. I think this, I've already said it a few times, I think it's a fun movie. I feel like they speed some of this up. Just slightly. Like him, like Frankenstein's monster. He's not supposed to be like the scariest, most realistic one you've ever seen. Oh man, the overlays. This is Indiana Jones again. Dude. I don't know. It's pretty official. I mean, that's you can pay homage, you know, to that, sure. I'm not saying he ripped it off. Many movies did this. Movies before Indiana Jones. I know they got it from somewhere too. I get it. I get it. But just saying. And only for a second. And isn't that the only time they did that? Now, I'm pretty sure they did that in Bram Stoker's, Coppola's Stoker's Dracula's, too. So, I mean, there's that. Yeah, it was unnecessary. That like, if you're doing it 3 times in a movie, that makes sense. Oh, we're doing it. We're traveling. It's a traveling movie. This is a traveling movie, but that's the only time I remember him doing the map overlay. Oh, yeah, then they deaden the sound here. I tried to think why... to create atmosphere, sure, but why? Who are we listening from, right? Him, I think. Like he was blocking out the carriage and the horses, because that would be deafening. Especially the speed he's going. These roads aren't traveled or maintained all the time. They're probably bumpy as Helsing. And I just, oh yeah, see like that CG shot. Like I hate that type of camera work. The bridge is obviously like fake or something. Like something's really fake there, whatever was fake. And then that looks half bad. That only, I mean, but that was half good because they can't do jumps very well, but that wasn't terrible. Yeah, and this is another, I guess we didn't have a speed connection. I was just relating it to a speed situation, but that's a lot like speed right there. Like, what was that? First time I thought, oh, maybe he has magic horses. No, he doesn't. Oh, yeah. And then he does that deadly jump for really no reason. Because you'll see... Nah, I'm not going to spoil it. I love that scene, though. They're having to hop on that thing while it's flying down. Yeah. So anyway, it was the old switcheroo. But he jumped that bridge. He got like 6 horses to jump that bridge for this trick to luckily get her with one of these. And truly, I don't think that's through the heart, either one of those. So, I'd say it just missed. And you know, another thing they don't mention, couldn't you just, like, stab them anywhere? Like in their arteries, you know, and stuff for, and then get the silver pumping through their heart somehow? You know, stab them in the right spot to where the blood travels there. That's now tainted. I don't know. In this, I thought this was a magical fire, too. It's like, what the heck is going on? And then the roof doesn't burn up. I mean, I'd get it if the roof burned up. So you're just saying that the flammable liquid or whatever is burning. Well, that would, you know, the gas from it, the gas would burn off here soon enough, or that would soak into the, you know, the top of the carriage. Something's got to happen here other than a blazing inferno in this. That's good. It's really good. Cheesy good. It is a Hollywood movie. It is like all those movies I mentioned. I mean, I feel like it was supposed to be a blockbuster. Probably a summer blockbuster. Huh. Let's check when it was released. It said 2003 was the date for this Blu-ray movie. Let's see. The theater release. Yeah, that is okay. Well, now it's burning other stuff. So, oh yeah, 2004. All right, May 7th, 2004. Yeah, the DVD said 2003. Oh man, well, there goes my phone. 2000. Yeah, I mean, sure, they probably just bought the rights in 2003 or started making the movie, but that's just weird. So, May. Yeah, so we're talking the beginning of summer, blockbuster. You know, compared to, let's see, Underworld came out September 19th, 2003. Oh my goodness. So that was before this. And Bram Stoker's, Coppola's, I hope Coppola did that. I keep saying that. Stoker's Dracula's came out November 13th, 92. Yeah, see, you got The Mummy Returns coming out May 4th, right? We're talking summer. G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, coming out August 7th, right? The Mummy came out May 4th. Yeah, so, you know, that's what they were going for here, is the summer blockbuster. It had everything in it. Good-looking guy, good-looking girl, funny sidekick that's goofy, that maybe kids could relate to, or just maybe a doofy comedy liking people can relate to, comic relief. You got also these sexy vampires. You got a good evil guy that's actually likable too, so you kind of are like, they're just trying to start a family. And you got Frankenstein's monster, which, I mean, and you start out the movie, of course, with a disastrous, you know, trauma for this, you know, for this monster, I guess you call him. But just like a Disney movie. That's how you keep the kids watching. There's a lovely framed shot here. But what is it she already bending down? See that spot? Maybe she's bouncing up and down, like being menacing. Probably. Huh. I wonder if that was a reverse shot. It looked a little odd. It's the best line in the movie. Like, what are you going to do with that? Yeah, and that time it's immediate. And yeah, who's carrying him around? Oh, and the jester hat. I feel like, I don't know. Is that really how it was? Was it made out of like, velvet or felt or whatever you want to call that type of material? Well, I guess he's not even truly dressed up in a jester's outfit. He's in a costume. They're going to a masquerade ball, so he probably got that at Spencer's Gifts or something. I'm not sponsored by Spencer's Gifts, just FYI. Yeah, and this, what is that called? Cirque du Soleil. Did I get that right? Circus. We'll look it up. Cirque du Soleil. I think that's who was in this, right? That's who all these people are. I know it was some giant. What do you call that? A troupe. Find Their Feet. Toronto Star. Worked on films such as Van Helsing, Catwoman. Oh wait, is that? I don't know. The most memorable effect comes from a lavish costume ball choreographed by, Cirque du Soleil. Yeah. So yeah, you got all these weirdos doing weird stuff, in which they're vampires. So this is like high society then. So I was thinking, is all of high society around here a vampire, right? Like you're part of the club, and so that means you're also a vampire. Because this is very Eyes Wide Shut, I guess, if you want to relate it to a movie. Or they had that one in was it Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. I don't think it was a masquerade ball, but it was like a dinner. It's a high society dinner. It's like, you must be the Monopoly guy. Which the Monopoly guy did not have a monocle, so why does he say that? This is a great scene with the mirror. It's great. Yes, wearing a mask again. Still wearing a similar hat. Yeah, so I mean, are all these guys high society and vampires? Are they just vampires and they're all rich and know how to properly dance and have money for these outfits? That was good. I, oh my goodness, it's like, I swear it's like a CG body back there, and then it's her head on it, I think, in the mirror. I mean, and then it's all green screen anyway, but I mean, I'm sure the whole mirror is green screened, and then, all that stuff's placed in, but I feel like her body was actually CG. It's like these guys, half the time they're CG, half the time they're not. Right here. I'm pretty sure that was in the trailer. Yeah, get rid of that guy. Never worked again. Yeah, see, that didn't look terrible until they were jumping to land. Alright, yeah, so she was spellbound. So are these his vampires? Like he made them? Or and why and or oh my goodness, you sycophants. Or are they I mean, why aren't they helping him this whole time? This whole army? Always the dramatic type. He should have only spoken Bible verses. That would have been neat. They know him? How do they know him? Is she still drunk? I wonder if they're supposed to do an effect on him there. Because they didn't. He really did his mouth stretch, though. But, I don't think they did anything to it. Very, ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, this is what I spent 12 years making that I didn't know what for. And I was carrying it, this bulky ass thing, today on this mission. And it was the perfect time because I just killed like 500 vampires. All of the vampires in the local vicinity I just murdered with this accidental thing that I made that I don't know why for 12 years, and I had it with me. Like, stop. That's the most outlandish part of this film, not all of this other stuff. Gonna make it, gonna make it, gonna make it. He's like, he is so done with you, Van Helsing. This is a love story, but it's not Van Helsing and girl. It's Van Helsing and monster. Here. Here we go. Destroy Frankenstein as well. Like, was that a misquote? Or is it because that's technically like Frankenstein's son? You know, Dr. Frankenstein's son. So technically he's a Frankenstein because that's the last name. Is that German? German Jewish? Something Austrian or something? Frankenstein? Stein? Frankenstein? The story I heard about Frankenstein in the book was something about it was a conglomerate of a few different leaders or, you know, high society people or scientists or you know, someone that was people that supposedly mattered at the time, and it was kind of a cobbled together story about them, just as the monster is a cobbled together story, you know, like that's just what I heard. And so it's Frankenstein, I think, is a couple names put together or something like that. Yeah, real facts there. I'll try to look it up. It's going to be hard to look up. What was Frankenstein truly written about? There. Is often cited as more of a moral favor about the dangers of playing God. Blah, blah, blah. Gods gave to man. Indeed, the novel's subtle. It's modern Prometheus. Yeah, but... Yes, it was written by Mary Shelley. It's obvious because the book is so bad. That was not me. That was someone else. I don't know. I just heard it somewhere, so... True Beast. Yeah, so it's about science. And you know, yeah, it's about those things, but it was about particular people. I'm pretty sure, but in general, it works. Oh yeah, so I missed the animated part with the wall. Unnecessary, and then they don't even do it again. Like they don't do it for them. Wouldn't it have been better for them? Or like, was he like tripping out at the time? And that is crazy. That's a crazy wall, dude. Obviously, there's some type of secret. A piece of paper. The piece of paper and the watermark's gone. Deep. I don't think we can fix it. Man, I think I can fix it now. Fits perfectly. Dude, he even hairsprays his hair. Like Van Helsing's, he's got to wake up early. Well, he's got to wake up late. I mean, if they're fighting all night. Oh, here we go with the other Matrix part I was talking about. So, in the Matrix, the first one, uh, when Neo touches the mirror and it gets all goopy, that effect, as far as I saw, was done like in real time. Like his fingers are touching, kind of interacting with that CG mirror live. You know, they didn't add it afterwards. I'm sure they added it and stuff and made it look better after, but so just like this, I feel like maybe that was the same type of effects where it's this interactive CG technology that started to get big, at least with movies. Um, I'm sure it's all tied to the military and everything else. Video games. Yeah, people think video games are like for kids. It's one of the biggest industries in the world, especially online, on YouTube, video wise. Absolutely, it's gigantic. Twitch is gigantic. Lots of money being tossed around there uh, for a lot of military purposes too, and that's not my political opinion. Sega comes from that. Service games comes from making games or making things for the military. Uh, as far as I read, I can't prove any of that, but it is called service games. And video games, supposedly, once again, I heard this, do come from the military or come from, say, the Navy and sonars and radars and making games out of them, making a simple Pong game. That's the story. And that doesn't come from a household wife making it. You know, it comes from some military government organization, you know, or someone working for it to make that, you know. So, and they go hand in hand. Technology, you know, itself is tied in with the military and big business 100%. You know, why wouldn't it be? That's what those things run off of. Bodies and technology, you know, money. But that's a side note. The money, that's the illusion of money is the actuality of control, really. So as long as everybody falls in line. I mean, if one person does something if one person, you know, says I'm not going to use money anymore, that could be a great example. But that's not going to change everything. That's not going to, because so many people are going to do the opposite constantly and still, you know. So, I mean, one person stops eating meat because they don't want animals to be killed like that anymore. The fact is, millions of other people are still going to be killing animals and eating meat, even though you may inspire some people to not do that any longer, and that's a great thing. You know, if that's what's great to you, that's a great thing. But no, it takes a group, you know, to get things going. And evil people in movies and in the real world are in large groups. And I mean, it's pyramid schemes, so it gets into smaller factions or groups, but they're together. These people work together even when they're not. You know, they work within a system that works for them, you know. So, I mean, that definitely ties in with the movie, with the Vatican, and with the high society vampires, and all this hidden technology. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie that's not explained at all, and that you may not think twice about necessarily, you know. But I think there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said about Indiana Jones too, when you watch that stuff about Nazis keeping all these thousands of artifacts in crates, you know, or I guess it was America at the end, or whoever got the Ark. I can't remember who got it. Anyway, they're hiding this stuff, and they just put it away. And you've got well, it gets to stuff like the Crystal Skull, which is just crazy. But the Grail, throughout that movie, I never noticed the first billion times I watched it that it's about Indy and his dad being Scottish, being a lineage of the Scottish Rite and the Templars. And they show it. They show it in many cases, and have them acted out and stuff. And they really want you to know that they were the bloodline that was allowed to go get the cup. And it didn't sink in with me, I guess, most of the time I watched it. That's what they were shooting for. They're part of a lineage, a bloodline, and thus goes in with secret societies. Not secret societies creating these bloodlines, obviously, but praising these bloodlines and keeping them, you know, so-called pure, to where you have, you know, Lancelot or whoever that was. I can't remember who was in the cave watching the Grail, but one of those guys, one of those Templars. It's because he was of a lineage of people, you know, the Widow's Sons, or Legacy of Cain, you know, or Tubal Cain, right? Tubal Cain meaning a lineage of Cain, meaning two balls and a stick, right? You know what that represents. And so that's progenitive. And we're also using the word Cain, so that symbolizes usually the lineage of Cain, or legacy of Cain, if you've ever heard of that video game. It's just an old, you can call it a mythos. I don't know, you could say it's reality. There's these two factioning bloodlines in a lot of movies, a lot of books, a lot of ancient stories today. And so, you know, it's one of those bloodlines rules on this earth, you know, or they claim to. I mean, that's getting biblical, and I'm not saying I believe everything I'm saying. I'm saying that there's people on this earth that do believe that and do act on it for sure. Take pride in it. Absolutely. Even in a normal sense, just think if you were the bloodline of George Washington and you lived in America, you know, and then let's say, oh, you became president, would that not be the most prideful, proud, American, patriotic thing, that we have George Washington's great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson or whatever, you know, and of course we would have him. He's of the lineage of what they call the first, you know, American president, which he was apparently the first White House president, excuse me. Supposedly, and then there was like 14 other people before George Washington, and they probably murdered the people before him or something. And there used to be an anti-Masonic party as a voting political party that they, of course, took away, because you can't have that in America. That's for sure. What would there be if there wasn't Masonic, you know? They claim everything. That's because they take from everything. They take from everyone and take from everything, and Freemasonry claims it all. That's why they want everybody. I was just looking up the Alamo. I think it was today, might have been yesterday, and you know, everybody there was a Freemason. The main guy on both sides were brothers, and then you had Bowie there, and I think, who else? Was it Davy Crockett? A bunch of other people. I mean, but then if you go to Texas and you look at the places, Austin, you have F. Austin, whatever, I can't remember his whole name, something F. Austin. And then, what was the other place? Houston, maybe? I don't know. I mean, they were Masons. So it's just, Masonry went into Mexico at some point, to at least the high society of it. And so I think that's where you end up getting the Alamo battle over this place that's like, and there was like 200 people there, or maybe 200 people on the one side. It just sounds stupid. It sounds like a dumb little dispute, you know. And I read something, it said theory beside it. I read something about, I think, Davy Crockett throwing up the distress signal, Freemasonry distress signal, which I'm pretty sure is throwing up your arms and saying, "Oh Lord, my God, will no one help this widow's son," you know, or something like that. Widow's son meaning son of Lilith. And so in one of the versions of the Garden of Eden, Lilith was the son, had Cain, you know, had a son, Cain, and that's where they say Cain came from, was Lilith and Adam, and then Abel came from Eve and Adam. That's one of the versions. There's also a version where Adam is four Adams, you know, and then they split the atom, right? There's a lot of crazy stories, awesome stories, about creation or human creation or intervention, at least. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that. Oh, okay. Okay, well, he's using his blanket. That'll work. Nah, that is so hollow, man. I think that movie was 1999. But when I looked that movie up last time, last time I was looking, it said it was a Verhoeven movie. And I had no idea. It was a Paul, Verhoeven. Let's see what else. I mean, he did all the greats, all my favorite movies. But I'm make sure I don't miss any here. Yeah, you got RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Total Recall. 3 of the best movies. I think Total Recall is Philip K. Dick. Don't know who did Starship Troopers. Basic Instinct, Showgirls. Yeah, I knew he did that. Flesh and Blood. I'll have to see what that is. The Fourth Man, Hollow Man. Yeah, Hollow Man, straight up. Okay, he did quite a few movies, but I think we know the best ones there. RoboCop, Starship Troopers, like seriously, just the satire in the movies themselves and the ultra violence, like it's just kind of jarring, but that's also has to do with the reality of what is there and being shown. I mean, we're talking about military, we're talking about corporations buying cities to control the drug trade and stuff like that. Like, so we're talking about messed up, nefarious people, high-end technology, just like this movie, doing crazy stuff, you know? It's an age-old story. In the green, it's like Mortal Kombat, kind of. Like Souls. Yeah, that's Matrixy. The Fields of Humans. I saw some coils and stuff. No love for Tesla, and I mean, they didn't mention anyone, I guess. The Dr. Frankenstein is the one who did the electricity, so maybe he's supposed to represent those types of people, like Tesla and stuff, just being crazy, doing... Well, not that he's crazy, but to a normal person, you'd be like, oh, man, that sounds crazy. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing in your spare time? doing with your life. Some pretty incredible things, that's for sure. Tesla, I mean, we'll never truly know because he's dead, but he did a lot of cool stuff, that's for sure. And now on certain TV programs, you know, they'll try to say that he talked to like aliens or demons, and from the way I understood it, he just basically meditated or even just thought a lot, or maybe traveled in his head, or you know, I don't think that has to be related to aliens or even gods. I think you know, but I don't know. But I also don't think a television program can just interpret whatever they want and still seem viable. I mean, of course they can interpret what they want, however they want. But oh yeah, so he looked like he was running weird on that bridge anyway. Like you could tell he had a cord on his back. And why Kate Beckinsale had to jump across that whole place, and then what's his name, Fryer, still had to walk across the bridge like that? Or is that coming up? That's coming up right now. Yeah, we don't get enough of this. That's really cool. And then it flashes here. Yeah, like that's awesome. It's really good. This could have been a really good scary movie, or a really good serious movie too, I think. I mean, maybe not the same exact story, but what was done with it is, a lot of it's really cool. He made a friend. Whoa. Ugh. It's crazy. Yeah, just like that camera panning right there, whatever you want to call it. They feel like they have to do it when there's a CGI effect. Maybe it looks terrible if it's standing still. I mean, that could be. I don't know. With this shot, sure, he's walking around and there's stuff going on. But I mean, with that bridge, you know, I'm just saying, do you really have to be going crazy with, you know, the camera, or the CGI camera, whatever it is, the computer? Because that pan, or that camera movement could have been after. I mean, the view could have been wider, and then they zoomed in a little bit and then did a little movement, but yeah, so apparently this Dracula can only be killed by a werewolf that has also got the cure for a werewolf inside of them. And so he has to be bitten within that 3-day period. Very strange that nature would do it that way. I would say it wasn't nature, it was more of a covenant with darkness. Yoink. A very dark movie, like Batman and Underworld. It looks really good. He's He's so good. Yeah, sorry. So here we go. So now he can't make it across. And so he's like, girl, come help. But then he still goes across. Spoiler. That's crazy that she would do that. And that she's not slipping in the rain. Catches it. It looks very determined. Yeah, and then that. It's CG Beckinsale. But then he has to go across anyway. He did all that. Had her come down and do all that. And now he's still got to do all this. Oh, yep, it's like the painting. The 400 years later. Yeah, what are those little wing things? He almost broke those. Yeah, and then I feel like they make the werewolf's ears look like horns a little bit. So is he supposed to be evil? I mean, he does have an evil thing in him. That's one thing about a lot of these movies, is that you have to have the power of evil to defeat evil. You have to succumb to evil, you know. It's terrible, terrible moral to try to get across, I would say. I guess it wouldn't be a moral, it would be more of a, I don't know, because it's not moral. I mean, when we're talking about religious stuff, right? He's working for these religious people. Of course, they don't see it, they don't want to know, they just want someone to do their dirty work, Van Helsing, right? But yeah, he's turning into a werewolf. Like, they wanted to kill Frankenstein's monster. Aren't they going to want to kill Van Helsing when they find out about this? That he's some horned werewolf? He may just keep that on the down low, I guess. Ah, yeah, see, that's what he was doing to Kate earlier. He's got some choking fetish. What? I guess he has slight powers when he's out of werewolfism. It's a lot of sparks for him being, like, mostly naked there. They're way behind him, though. What? Did they ever show this whole movie that he was missing a finger? Most of a finger? I don't remember seeing that. I mean, yeah, that's neat. But, like, really only when the moon is shown? Like the literal moonlight? What if he's indoors at the time like he was, right? And the moon's not shining on him. Yeah, it's like they didn't need to do that. Slowed it down there. So they're acting like... See, I'm pretty sure she had the needle up. Whoa, whoa, he's gonna do it. Because he said he would. But look where the needle's at. I'm pretty sure her hand was up by his shoulder. But it's whatever. And wait, is that when she dies? Did he kill her? Oh my goodness. Start the Van Helsing theme. Get out of there. Trust me, get out of there. This guy's a maniac. He, like, grabbed her, ran into her so hard. There's no way. I think she was dead before. And he just, like, was there. She, like, died of a heart attack, and he, like, came in right afterwards. And that's it. That's right. So they killed Dracula. The ladies are dead. All the babies are dead. Not wearing the hat. And they choose not to bring her back to life with the technology, of course. I mean, that, you know. Would that be necromancy? Is that any different? I don't know. If you shock me back to life within a minute, is that okay? But if it's like the next day, that's wrong? Or is it okay? Because, I mean, I'm just talking, I'm talking religious-wise or you know, Bible-wise. Like, brought Lazarus back when he was stinking up the place. Right? Right. Well, and not to mention that Jesus came back, so. Would that not be high-end necromancy? I remember this one movie. Who was it? I don't even remember. I want to say it was Abraham, but I don't know who it was. They went into the tomb of Jesus. Like I said, I don't know who it was, but he was doing this spells and stuff, kind of, or doing these rituals or rites, and like drawing on the shroud or something, you know, and all this stuff. And then, of course, Jesus came back to life. Like, they had to, like, do, you know, certain rites to do it. I'm going to sound like an idiot if I say that was Abraham. No, they say Mary Magdalene came in. Oh, crap, dropped my phone again. But when, it was some movie anyway. It could have even been loosely based on the Bible, and the Bible itself is based on other stories, and so you know. Yeah, everything the light touches is our kingdom. It's very, very Lion King. Well, Godwin was wrong. I didn't hear Hitler mentioned once. Oops. Yep, part 2. Get ready for part 2. That's what this music's pumping you up for. Bring her back to life as a vampire. Get Frank's monster back. He's actually... Dracula's still alive. He's in the hospital in like a full body cast. And he's getting taken care of. And Igor's in there like by his bedside. But then Frankenstein actually works at the hospital. And he walks in and he's got this nurse's outfit on. And they look at each other. And he's like, huh? 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 And then fade to black. I think that could be the extra, the end credits thing. I think right at the end, that'd be perfect. It might happen. We're at the credits. Hugh Jackman's where I'm at. So, yep. Kate Beckinsale. I've been spelling that wrong. Looking it up. Okay, it's interesting. Was that Schuler Hensley? Yep. Elena Anaya. I'm guessing that's one of the ladies. Probably the one who had the biggest part with the red hair. Pretty neat ending here. I mean, for the credits, it's kind of fun, kind of cartoony. I mean, they went. It reminds me of the painting, you know. But the painting, that's why I keep sticking on that, is because it used like low end poly stuff, like low end animations, low end poly 3D figures. You know, it seemed like it was done by an amateur 3D artist, but I think at the same time it was kind of supposed to be like a puppetry thing. So I can't say if they were going for that look or if that look just came out, but I could also see where that looks bad. So it can look like this movie has some bad acting, some bad CG, obvious storytelling, you know, things like that. Or, you know, you can kind of see it a different way and see that some of that, at least, maybe a lot of it, was on purpose, you know. And so it's stylized. It's nice to think that when it's not, but hopefully it was just stylized. Some of these words look darker than others. Oh, Top Hat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the guy's name. The grave guy. Casket maker. Undertaker. Yeah, see, all these names seem smaller. Van Helsing looks bold. Yeah, like second unit director. That looks bold. I feel like some of the names of characters up there was actually bold, and some of them weren't. It's kind of weird. Yeah, because now it looks consistent. Something I noticed before. It's going to come up in a little while. There's going to be these two names, one right under the other, and they have different last names, but the same first name. And I mean, I'm American, so I would say they're strange names because there's not a lot of Americans named this. And it's not Japanese, because my theory was, well, maybe they put their last name first. And so these two people have the same last name. It's like, well, they're not Japanese, and I don't think they would do that anyway. Excuse me. But it's coming up here. It's very noticeable. Like I said, not an average name for an English-speaking person, I would say. Nope, we're just going to wait for it. No, it's not Rick and Richard. It's not Ronald and Raymond. I like the ice effect in the background. Kind of like a Black Mirror icing. Really enjoyed the movie. Enjoyed watching it with you. I'd like to do this sort of thing live, or just do more of these videos, and you can listen along when you watch the movie. It'll be like someone's watching it with you, but they can't hear you and don't respond to anything that you're saying or doing. So that'd be me. You can give out. You can tell me all your problems. I don't mind listening. Go ahead and talk to me while the video's playing. It's more than acceptable. You can talk all you want during the movie. I do not mind. You can even respond to things I say. But like I said, I won't hear you. So And now I'm telling you all these things afterwards, of course. Hopefully you knew you could already do any of those things. Go ahead. Tell me about your mother-in-law. Like I said, give out. A lot of people making this. Oh, okay. Well, you got ILM. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. That's another Indiana Jones connection, obviously. So. What do you think? You think we missed the names already? No, it's not Philip and Philip. But that's a good one. Two people named Philip right there. Going into the Masquerade Ball theme here. Or waltz, I guess. I'm really watching hard. I hope everyone else is. David and David, they did it again. Judith Weaver. Well, next movie I'm gonna do. I want to say, oh man, I don't know. I wanted to do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen just because it's so similar, around the similar time. Even has similar characters in the movie. Actually has the exact same characters in the movie. Has a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So I mean, that's exactly the same. But it's a fun movie. It really is too. I have to say I enjoy this one more. In League of Extraordinary Gentlemen has some more cheese. It has a lot more piled into it, if you can imagine that. And it really goes through and tries to develop every character, though, so I can appreciate that. Or at least explain every character. Some of them develop. Yeah, all the stunts. Camilla Zankarova. We're going to find it. We're going to find the names. Wherever they went to film a lot of this, I would think that's where they got a lot of these employees, a lot of these people making the film. You have Vladimir Pribleslavsky, like, yeah, I think they went local. Nope, I missed it. Well, write it in the comments below if you found it. Those two crazy names. Crazy first names that were one right under the other, just by chance. I felt like they were doing it on purpose, because we saw a few. Philip and Philip. I think another one. So yeah, maybe it was purposeful. Definitely distracting. Yeah, that's a, yeah, 2004. Okay, yeah, that's right, 2004. Alright, well that's it. I'll pick another one out, and like I said, hope you all enjoyed it, and hope you come watch the next one with me. Bye.